is H.R. McMaster was on CNBC a couple weeks ago, and what he said about globalization, and I believe this is true, and the pandemic really laid this bare, was that we traded supply chain security for supply chain efficiency, which ultimately, as the world globalized from let's say 1980 really through today, that brought down costs overall, brought down wages, brought down product costs. A 75-inch TV for $600. We know what's happened to costs. It was a deflationary to disinflationary environment as the supply chain spread around the world. Again, today the problem, and we found it out in graphic relief during the pandemic, was that is now an unreliable way in which to live. So friendlier countries, more allied countries. I wrote a piece a couple weeks ago. I don't know that this will be true. It is kind of a thought exercise that we may very well be returning to a period in which things like financial assets, globalization, are shoved into the background as areas that have done really well. And we, again, may have local, regional, hemispheric trade blocs with countries that more closely align with our views and values and start to separate ourselves from other parts of the world. And that may happen in the Far East, that may happen in Eastern Europe, that may happen where you'll see the EU, the United States, North America broadly speaking, Australia, Japan, South Korea form a bloc to isolate China, particularly if they become a bad actor with respect to Taiwan, and go through all kinds of changes that, number one, will secure our supply chain, but number two, may very well result in higher costs for produced goods. Because domestic wages tend to be higher than wages shifted offshore. The cost of building here is more expensive, given regulations and other concerns, than it would be in a place like China or some other country that has far less restrictive rules and regulations.